more things of my introverted mindset that I think this is just something an introverted person will get, because extroverted people, no matter what it is, I think they want to do a certain thing to identify with a group, and they want to fit into a group. And when you're younger, I'll tell you, to be fair, be honest, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, those were not the best times in my life, like late elementary, middle school, because around that time, this was just my experience. It might not be for everybody, but there is bullying in school, and I learned pretty quickly, if you don't want to dress like what is considered popular by other girls or have certain interests that other people have, that seems to bother some people. And this is one thing with driving as well. I've noticed, like, okay, look, I've never told people, oh, you need to walk, you need to be a pedestrian. But I'll tell you, some people get really mad and they get really heated if you say it's possible to be a pedestrian in Southern California. And I've had people that try to tell me, they try to negate my entire life experience living in Southern California, walking everywhere, taking the bus sometimes. Like, they try to say it's impossible, but it's really not impossible. But it bothers people because you're doing something that the majority of people don't want to do. Most people want to own a car, they want to buy a car, they want to drive. I'll be honest with you, I never had this deep burning desire to drive. I didn't even start to drive until I was in my early teens. And I took a few driving lessons, and I found right away I just didn't enjoy driving. It made me feel nervous. Look, it's been over 20 plus years since I tried to drive, so I don't know if I would ever try again. I have no interest. Like, I just decided back then, driving is not that important to me. And I've never said to everybody else, oh, you must drive. Like, you guys all have to be pedestrians. But it's just like when the majority sees you doing something different and you're okay with it and you can get around. By the way, you are. Even in Southern California, I know a lot of people in the Midwest are always like, well, in the Midwest, we don't. And where I used to walk, like 15 miles from a certain location, you couldn't walk. But that's from your job. I choose to live closer to where I work and shop because for me, I do want to walk or take the bus. And I like Uber. I've taken Uber. I'm doing good. How are you doing? I've taken Uber for longer trips. And actually, what I'm the most excited about is the car, the self-driving cars. Like, I think that'll be a boon for our society once they perfect the self-driving car technology. And a lot of people are really against the self-driving car. Like, apparently there's people that vandalize the Waymo. And I'm very interested in Waymo's story. And I am pro free market, actually, by the way. I'm not like, some people say, oh, you have to be a capitalist. No, I'm pro free market where we get to make choices. And I think if you're just pro free market, you let people make their own choice about how they want to get around. You don't shame them because they don't want to drive. Honestly, my life has been great not driving. I don't have a car payment. I don't have car insurance. People pay to go to the gym to walk on a treadmill. Walking is free. Like, even, I always say this, even if you do drive, you don't need to pay to go to the gym. You can go on a walk and do some of your errands. And surprisingly, it's the same thing as working out. You can clean your house. Like, this whole gym membership thing, I'm not really interested in it. Some people just love the gym. If that's your thing, go off, have a gym membership. But walking gives you a lot of exercise, and you're just getting from one location to another, and it's very doable. Another thing that you do have to plan out with walking, though, and one thing I've noticed is I'm more punctual than people who drive. Like, there's a lot of people who drive and they're late, like, all the time. Well, when you walk, when you're a pedestrian, there's no wiggle room like that. You have to plan your schedule a lot tighter. Like, you have to leave sometimes 2 hours early, and some people are like, what? And they balk at that. like whether you're taking the bus or walking, you have to leave 2 hours early. And people are like, oh my gosh, like if you are a roll out of bed kind of person, being a pedestrian is not going to work for you. I've always been a morning person, and I'm an evening person too. I'm somebody who, like, the whole 8 hours of sleep thing, that's not really important to me. I'll sleep more when I have time, like on my days off. But like if you're very attached to like sleeping 8 hours, yeah, being a pedestrian is probably not for you, because you will have to get up earlier, you will have to leave earlier. And some people are like, I don't want to wait for a bus, I don't want to walk, I don't want to do this, but yet they go to the gym. It doesn't really matter if I'm liberal or conservative. I don't define myself by terms like that. It's been a big problem. I think right now people are becoming so polarized. I'm centrist. I'm a centrist. Not that it even matters, because I don't identify either. I think people need to have their own identity. You need to know things you like. Like there's a lot of liberal people that love sports, and they all want to drive a car. In fact, it's always been like really super liberal people and conservative people that got mad at me because I said you could be a pedestrian, or I can be. It was people that always thought I needed to drive to make my life more valid, and I never felt that way. I never felt like I was missing out on something because I don't drive. I only ever felt the benefits of not driving. I save a lot of money every month. So maybe I might pay a little bit more rent, but actually here in California, that's not true, because rent's expensive everywhere. And owning a house, no, that's not something I'm going to do right now. And it's not really a priority for me, because I hope my parents live forever. I really do. They're not going to live forever. Reality, my parents are not going to live forever. So when they get old, I'm part Syrian. I believe that you take care of your parents, because that's what Syrians do. They don't put their family in rest homes. They don't do that. They don't do hospice. They do it themselves. So when my parents get old to where I can't take care of them, I'm going to take care of them. And for the meantime, I don't need to own a house. It's not a priority. So if you want to be a pedestrian, it is very easy, but you have to have a different mindset than people who want to drive everywhere. And I think I'm not into this whole capitalist versus communist thing, because I think communism's failed everywhere. It really has. I'm not into fashion. Everybody's making everything political nowadays. And this doesn't have to be like, okay, politics do come to some things, but not everything has to be political. Because like I said, there are people on all, parts of the political spectrum that get upset that you want to walk or you don't like sports. What it is I think it is people, they need to belong to a group. And belonging to a group is really important to our extroverted culture, okay? And I feel like, to me, just being myself, I'm nice to people. I don't knock what people like, but I'll be honest with you, if you don't do something that everybody else likes, there's a little bit of criticism in that. They're like, why don't you live the way we do? So my response to that is I would never, like, just in the future, I'm just never going to respond to people that get upset about me doing something different than what everybody else wants to do in a group. And who is it that makes these decisions? Because usually in a group, there's like some influencer, and this goes along with like influencer culture or just leader, and they decide like these are the things we're doing. So everybody else is like, oh, we're doing these things. But they never really ask themselves, why are we doing these things? If you study anthropology, it's because people have a need to belong to a group. So in the past, it might have been more religious, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think most Americans are super religious like the Puritans were. I don't think so. So now they need a political group or a sports group, or they want to belong to a group where, I don't know, they go bowling. It doesn't matter. Belong to whatever group you want. But I just finally came to the conclusion, because when I was younger, I tried to, I feel like I tried to suppress certain parts of my individuality where I wanted to just be myself and do things do, and that never made me feel happy, and I'm very unhappy. Like when I would try to do things that are considered trendy. And I'm not saying I never do something that's trendy, like social media, right? But so I want to tell you, just be yourself. Like if you're nice to people, there's a certain point. I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, I must be doing something to make them not like me. Honestly, don't waste energy on that. Don't waste energy on that. As long as you're nice to people and you're polite and you let them be themselves, you're not hurting people. At the end of the day, I cannot waste energy worrying about if I did something to like be part of a group. It's not that important to me, because the right people, the good people, they will let you be yourself. They won't make you feel like, oh no, like, and here's an example. I think some people that might have like certain behavioral things, like I'm not autistic, I can't speak to that, but I know some people like to ostracize people that are autistic because they don't do certain things that, that a group of people just automatically understand, and they ostracize that person. But I want to tell you something. Their parents did them wrong, because if your parents teach you right, you don't ostracize people, you don't make people feel bad for being who they are. Yeah, some people are going to be your friend, you're going to be drawn to some people more than others, but as long as you're just polite and nice to people, I kind of keep things a little bit lighter. Friends with everybody I meet, because that's just not reality. As long as you're just polite to people, and if they're upset with you, you can't really control that, okay? You need to focus more on your own plate, your own lane, and your own life. And if you want to do something and other people don't like that and you're not hurting them, at the end of the day, that's their problem, because you need to realize, like, let's say, for instance, I don't want to drive, and I feel happy not driving. I actually feel really happy that I save a lot of money not driving. I understand 99.9% of people want to drive. They want to own a car. They want this and that. I don't. I'm excited about the future of trains and the self-driving car, and I think it has a lot of potential, and I see it as a good thing. Right now, I think a lot of people, every time there's like cultural shifts in society, I do see there's a lot of people of like my parents' generation and a little bit younger. I think they're struggling with things changing right now. I will say, I think COVID made some big changes where people were kind of forced to start using more technology. And I think a lot of people just don't like change, right? But the whole having to do things to please people, if it doesn't make you happy, then why did you do it? Just do what makes you happy. And if you want to be a pedestrian, you can be. It's possible. So, thanks for watching.